Hi guys, Toby Hughes with Buckmasters, here with Randy Kukral. You guys have seen this guy before. He's killed 3 200-inch deer, 200 plus, for the last 3 years. Okay, 2021, 22, and 23. 21 was a 210-inch. You named him Diesel. We've covered that on the video.
Yep.
2022 was 232-inch.
Yep.
And last year, we scored it out in the driveway on the tailgate, 220.
220. Yep.
This was his 4th. And if you've seen the video recently, he dropped the sheds right in front of him. Now this deer, he's been sending me intel and pictures on all summer long. Well, for a couple months. Yes.
A different one all summer long.
A different one all summer long. This one for the last couple of months. So you lose one, you gain another, right? You're always looking.
Always.
Right. So, going over the first one, 210 inches. That was your first. And I've scored, the first time you brought him down, we scored how many? 6 or 8?
I'd say, yeah, it was a truck full. I don't remember how many, but a bunch.
Bunch of compound bows, bunch of.
Yeah.
The first one is always your favorite.
Oh yeah.
Because you surpassed the.
Yeah, it was one of the most memorable. That's for sure.
So and we all know, as you kill 3 in a row, nobody's done that I know, back to back to back. There's plenty of guys out there, big time hunters and stuff, that have harvested multiple 200-inch deer. I don't know anybody who's done it back to back to back from one state. It's not like you're flying
across the
state
country,
to state to state,
right.
hunting 6 states a year.
Right. No, just Ohio. First time I've really, I've hunted some Texas, but I hunted PA this year, which is nice. Shot a nice.
Did you get one?
Shot that nice 8-point out there. Yeah, which was nice. I've never gone to PA, hunted out there, so that was a cool.
No pressure there, huh?
No, I just went out to see what I could come across, and the first one I came across was, I guess, pretty nice for PA.
Yeah, cool.
So it was fun.
What a score, big 115.
Yeah, probably.
PA's famous for big 115s.
Yeah, he was big.
But they are stepping up their game. I've seen bigger and bigger deer come from
I
PA.
have been pretty surprised on some of the deer that I've been seeing posted this year. I don't know if those are central, eastern, west. I don't know where they're coming out of, but there's been some pretty big deer coming out of PA.
Yeah.
So
I've seen a few. Well, here's want to toast to you, because you're the hardest hunter that I know of. And this is something I was sitting in a doctor's office today, and I had time to burn waiting on my turn. So I came up with a bunch of rapid fire questions. This is something new.
all right.
Are you game?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Beware.
I'm ready.
Okay. I got one.
Let's do it. I only drink one of these a year with you, just so you know.
You're a trooper, man.
Oof.
So,
Thank God for the wine.
some of these questions I built coming from Pete. Facebook comments, guys saying on all the comments, because in Ohio, you're a pretty high level public deer hunter. I mean, I don't say that by public land. You'll hunt private land.
Only private.
Only private.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you ready?
I'll shoot.
Let's not say yes or no questions, but minimal, let's say 10-word answers.
Okay.
Or less.
Let's go.
And the questions concerning these 4 deer. Okay. So
right.
just keep it to that.
Okay.
These 4 deer. Metro park or town deer?
Urban. A lot of urban.
Urban. One property.
No. No.
All these bucks from one
these
property.
are all off of a different property.
Because I see it on every video we make.
Yeah.
You must have some nice property.
Yeah. Well, I wish I did, but you can't produce this consistently off of one property, I don't think.
How about from one county?
No, not even close.
Not even close.
The first 2 were close to each other, but last year was out west, and this one was. I'm not going to give exact details because I'm still after him, but
He's still alive.
he's pretty far south, about as far as you can go.
Yeah. Okay. Do you lease property?
I've never leased a piece of property.
You've never leased a piece of property. Do you spend time away from home to hunt, like say in a hotel? You go shack up, camp out.
Oh yeah. The only when I go out of town looking for these deer, yeah, I just basically live in a hotel, and it's you should see the thing, man. I think I got some pictures I'll show you, but the whole thing's got clothes hanging in there. I'm spraying stuff down, swapping stuff out.
Wow.
Building tree stands when I get back at dark to take another set in the next morning.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's your hotel time. You're just like total deer camp in your hotel.
You get back, you leave there at 4 o'clock in the morning, say, your alarm goes off 4, you leave 4:15, 4:30, and you're trying to get a bite to eat. I usually bring like oatmeal or something quick that I can throw up, microwave, and then you try to get in your stand roughly. Say you're in by 5, hour before daylight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you go out, you sit all day. I mean, whenever I'm hunting these deer, I'm an all day sit. I go in. Sometimes I'll take a stand in with me, so I can make a move because intel I gained yesterday, the day prior, and then you sit till dark. Say that's 6, 7, early season maybe 7:30, and then at that point you don't get back to your hotel. If you stop and get food, what I started doing is door dashing, so you can save that 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
Yeah, that saves time.
But you get back and you don't blink, and it's literally pushing 11 o'clock, midnight, and you're like, God, I gotta go to bed. It's 4 o'clock comes early.
Oh yeah, sure does.
There's no rest, that's for sure. It's no vacation.
I don't think that was a rapid fire question.
Sorry. 10 words, right.
Okay. Speaking of, all day sets or AM PM hunting? You just answered that.
All day. Mm-hmm.
Goes with that. Pea bottle or you just let it fly?
Wide mouth Gatorade bottle.
You bragging?
No.
Okay. Okay. Ground blind, saddle, ladder stand, or climber?
I've been known to use a climber. I like a hang-on stand. I usually use a hang-on stand with sticks. Novix stands, yeah.
So when you pack up to go after a deer, you already know it's there because you've done your homework.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pre-do your homework. You just don't go drive around looking for deer at this level. You get a tip that the deer's there. You go prior and investigate, maybe even in the middle of summer, lay out a game plan, find his core area.
Yeah, it's the first two. I mean, I was really close to home. I was after a third one last year. He broke some stuff off, so I didn't hunt him. I decided to go to a different one that I knew about for probably 3 years, and took the intel I knew about this deer, and we went out. I hung up like 10 cameras in beginning of October.
Yeah.
Deer didn't show up till maybe the 4th of October. I'd better check my dates on that. And decided once the rut kind of kicked in, I was going to kick it into gear, and I went after him. But yeah, I mean that was a little bit of a tip, a buddy of mine, two buddies of mine knew about. And then
So all of these deer have been successfully gotten, the 3 2Hundos prior, by intel, scouting. The one you told me you did a drive-by home on the phone with your dad, and there he is.
that was my second one.
Your
Yeah,
second.
I just shot Diesel, and probably 2 weeks later, I'm driving and I'm leaving a meeting, and I'm on the phone with my old man just BSing, and I literally stopped in my tracks, and I'm like, Dad, you ain't gonna believe this. There's this giant buck, the biggest buck I ever seen. And he's like, you shot the biggest buck ever, and I was like, no, I'm telling you, he's bigger. He had this huge drop tine, huge frame, dark chocolate rack, and with my fishing season, I didn't really do much work until like September, and then I got some cameras hung and got some permissions around there, and finally I got a picture of him, and I hunted. Once I got the photo of him, I was on.
So once you find these deer, then you have to go game plan and gain permission.
Oh yeah, I mean and I've been shot down
More than you've been accepted.
It's been about 50-50. It's 50-50, but when you get those no's, it's like, what can I do to earn, earned
Right.
this. And
That was one of my rapid fire questions. Have you ever paid to hunt these?
I've never paid a dime.
Not a dime.
Well, last year I took some crossbows to some kids. The people let me hunt. Last year, trifecta, I took the kids some crossbows for Christmas and some camouflage, things like that. But
some gifts.
Yeah, just for appreciation. But
Yeah.
Other than that,
That's
I've never
smart.
given a dime. I've never given a dime to.
That's smart. So you don't lease property.
Correct.
You don't sling money around to kill these deer, because I've seen those comments too.
I know. I've seen them too. That's all right. I mean, people are going to say things. That's expected.
I've probably seen more off the wall comments than most because of what I do here.
Well, with your posts, I mean, there's always someone, right?
Yeah.
So
Every big deer that I tell a story on or score, somebody's either butthurt about it, jealous, or kicking out comments. It's part of the game. I don't like it. How do you deal with it?
it used to bug me a little bit, but anymore, you got to look the other way. You know what I've noticed is most of the time it's the old guy, the keyboard warrior with 0 posts. He's got 30 to 100 followers or whatever, and it's not even a valid account really, you know. And it's a keyboard warrior. I don't let it get to me.
Yeah, because you
can't. I mean, you can't live like it. You know, I mean, there's always going to be negativity in this world. You got to look at you got to be positive. You got to have positive mental attitude, and that's how I go about life.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. Because no matter what you do, good, bad, or indifferent, somebody's got to have something to say.
Yep.
And that's the part of probably if I didn't do what we're doing right now, I honestly would not have Facebook.
Yeah.
Because I'm just about over hunters bashing each other and all this stuff like that. It's just it's to the point where it's easier for me to just block you as to deal with you. And I hate to say that because it's just part of the negative attitude that hunters take on other hunters.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm kind of over it.
It's you know, I think this sport needs to be more about camaraderie and just building people up.
Yeah.
And anymore, I think there is a lot of that, like you said. You know, and it's just
It's
a shame that it is. I mean, you know, there's still a lot of camaraderie. I mean, there's way more positivity than negativity. But,
right, but
you
you
know,
only see and get egged on by the negative stuff.
Right, exactly.
But that's why we do this here, because there'd be like 10 guys in here on a Saturday getting their deer scored, and their buddies, they never met before, but time they leave this door, they're all pals.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've met guys down here. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
like Stucky and those guys, Travis, those guys. I mean, never knew those guys from Adam, but I feel like we know each other now. You know, I run into these guys in the middle of Lake Erie.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, "Hey, what's up, Kukral?" And I'm like, "Dude, what are you doing out here?" You know, and it's awesome.
That's the fun part.
That is the fun part, and that's what it's all about. That's what it should be about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
You done yet?
No. So one of my questions was, you have exchanged labor, goods, services, and trade for permission to hunt.
I'm always offering sweat equity. I've never really had to do much.
Let's stop right there. Another question that relates to that. What do you do for a living that allows you to hunt these deer?
I own a landscape company.
Landscape company.
Yeah, I've been in that since I was 16 years old.
So you can
20
trade.
years. Right, if I need to go in and bring my excavator or a skid steer in and do something or do some mulching, I mean, I'm always offering. I've never really had to do much of anything, if anything, but I'm always offering.
Yeah.
And if someone called me that allowed me to hunt and they asked for something.
Like cut a tree down or something?
Yeah, actually I did do some stump grinding for a lady this year for the first one I was chasing early in the season. Sent my buddy over, ground some stumps for her and things like that to hunt her farm. Never ended up hunting her farm, but still did it. And I offered to another guy that actually was letting me hunt that same deer. I offered to use my excavator if he wanted to use the excavator to dig out his pond and things like that.
Oh,
but
cool.
I never, whatever. And if he needs something, you're darn right, I'll be there.
Yeah.
I didn't shoot the deer, but.
Yeah, that's the way we used to gain permission. You bale hay for the guy.
Right.
It's, what do you call it? Sweat equity.
Sweat equity. I used to do that to go fishing at my neighbor's ponds.
Yeah.
At the farm ponds.
It's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Sitka gear or Walmart camo? Put him on the spot.
Here we go. So I have literally for the last 13 years worn the same exact camo. Last year for Christmas, my wife bought me my first Sitka outfit, which was nice.
After you've killed 3
After
200s.
I killed 3, and I kind of had a deal going for camo, and after my wife bought me Sitka, I was like, well, don't worry about that. I had some stuff, brewing. Still kind of do, but I'll tell you what, a Sitka early season was awesome. I know it's Sitka, and everyone's going to make their comments about it. It's pricey. I never wanted to spend that kind of money on camouflage, but
there's really no need to.
As long as you're scent free and you do your system properly, I think that's the most important thing. I don't care how good you are with your system; you're still going to be able to. These deer will win you anyway.
Yeah.
But she got me a Fanatic set this Christmas, and at that point I was checked out. I wasn't even going to hunt.
A Fanatic set.
Fanatic set is Sitka. It's the really warm stuff.
It's like a package.
I was able to sit 3 days straight this past week
on this deer,
and I was so warm. I had my base layers on and just that stuff, and I was so warm. I was I was almost too warm.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I was going out, and it was 28 degrees in the morning. It was warming up in the afternoon, and I was unzipping stuff, but it was so warm. Yeah, it was amazing, and I'm a freeze baby.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Question I've always asked, and you see in the comments, why do you use a crossbow versus compound? Because the other bucks I scored for you, you've killed multiple deer with compound.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so the first year I shot, when 10 Point really stepped up their game, it caught my eye, right?
Okay.
And I was watching Diesel, he was like a 190 in the season of 2020. And I ended up buying the bow then, but I decided not to shoot him because I thought he was only like 4.5 years old. And I really never had that deer on the hoof in front of me that season. Season prior I did.
Uh-huh.
So I was trying to grow that deer, and then the main reason I shot him with a crossbow in 21, that was just a respect thing. I wanted that deer to fall. I wanted no
issues.
It was a 200-inch deer,
right?
And I wanted to make sure that deer was on the ground, and it was more of a respect thing, and that kind of snowballed. I had some things going from the year prior. I shot a deer with a crossbow, and I had some things kind of brewing with 10 Point, and then once I got Diesel, and I told him, I'm like, I'm gonna probably have a chance to shoot this deer.
Yeah.
And it started to turn into a little bit of a sponsorship thing, kind of piggybacking off my fishing, my boat wraps and things like that.
So you're a professional bass fisherman.
I've taken the last couple of years off, but yeah, I mean,
Okay.
just to work on the business, and really I was focused on this primarily. Just trying to keep the streak going. But yeah, I did it for respect. Then the sponsorship started. I get some product from them, every year, and it's a good relationship, and they're right down the road from me. So if I ever need something, they take care of me, and I think they're the best crossbow company in the country.
10 Point.
10 Point, they are phenomenal.
So you basically
so that's why I use it.
are sponsored.
Yeah, I am. It's a sponsorship deal.
Cool.
But
because you're successful.
I love
using
shooting.
their
I
equipment.
love shooting a vertical bow, and I mean, I actually considered.
You shot all summer because you were sending me freaking videos.
I was shooting all summer.
10 o'clock at night, keeping me up at night.
I shot a lot this summer, but and I almost, I was really considering. 10 Point wouldn't be upset if I shot a buck with a, compound bow.
Right,
but,
you've already proven yourself.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see what next year brings. I don't really. Just kind of depends on what I need to use for that particular situation.
Right. And every deer presents a different situation.
Right.
Okay. Last one. How many cell cameras you use on these deer? Each one. Let's say. I'm sure you started off. And now you've gained. I'm sure.
So I started out probably with Diesel. I had probably at least 20 cameras running. At that point, I was running with 3 cameras on one tree just because I was covering this certain area.
2021.
Yeah. And then the second one, I was running.
Second one's 232
probably
inches.
Around 22. I was probably running around 20 some cameras easily. And I only got them on a couple.
You only got him on a couple.
A couple cameras. Last year, man, I ran a lot of cameras all summer and early season on the deer that I was after up by my house.
220.
Well, the one that broke off.
Oh, okay.
So I ran a ton of
backed
cameras
off
on
of him.
that, you know, and I was dialed in on that deer. I mean, that deer, I could have put that deer down opening day. The first 2 weeks was consistent.
But he broke up.
He broke off, so I let him go in hopes that he would blow up. So I let him go. Long story short, he was only at 150 this year. He shrunk. And
Oh yeah.
You know that's right.
You go over the over the hill.
But yeah. So for the deer I shot last year, I bet you I had. I mean, there was a bunch of farm. I mean, it was a bunch of property I was covering, but 40 to 50 cameras probably.
Yeah.
All Moultrie, and I love a Moultrie camera. You know, they're reliable. I mean, I got to deal with them right now, and it started out because I was just using them, and it turned into a sponsorship deal. But you can't find a better, more reliable camera, and more simple. Their app is amazing. They've got, you know, the game plan. They've got mapping on there like your Onyx, so you don't need all these different subscriptions. It's pretty awesome.
That is cool.
Yep.
So let's get into this deer. 3 200 inchers in a row. And it's not like, I mean, seriously, this deer I have followed in your whole, basically, the last 3 years, this is the fourth, that you're sending me pictures of what's going on and keeping me in the loop of what you're after. And this guy's passed up more 190-inch deer than anybody I know, more than the average guy, to keep this streak alive. The streak being, how many 200 inchers in a row can one person do?
In one state.
I know a couple guys have done back-to-back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In this state. I don't think anybody's done 3. If they have, they're not coming forward and they're real like a recluse and don't brag about it. I mean, I'm sure those guys are out there.
I'm sure it's out there, but I've never heard of it. I've done some research, and I don't think. I mean, you've done some research for me. I made you dig it up to see if I was, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this deer right here, and I been on the loop on this deer for the last couple months. Okay. And the biggest question I get, text and cell cameras, pictures in the middle of the night. Thank you. Are you sure this thing might go 200 and all this stuff? Like, well, it looks pretty dang good. I mean, you never know until you get it on the ground, because to me, picture scoring just, I mean, some deer look at, some don't.
Yeah, it was I mean, I was questioning it, but those brows kind of made me confident.
Yeah. So, the video that you just posted, and this dude shed right in front of you. What the heck happened? You had to just crap your pants. Like, dude, it's over. It's like the last day of the season.
Well, let's walk through the story a little bit here.
Okay.
I'm walking, you know.
Fill us in.
I'm sitting in that stand. It's going on, I don't know, it was probably around 3 o'clock. And I actually texted a couple people. I think you were one of them. I texted a couple of my buddies, and it was just like, what did I say? I was like, he's coming in. He's like 80 yards out, you know, 100 yards out. And I texted my buddy Terry. I was like, 80 yards. And he's texting me, blowing me up, and I ignored him. I didn't, you know.
At that point, you want to concentrate.
Yeah. So I'm literally just watching the deer over my shoulder, and they're sitting there. They're eating these hedge apples. They're eating browse. I mean, I've never seen deer eat so many branches. I mean, there's really where these deer were. It was a tight bedroom where they were bouncing between a set of hardwoods and a really tight bedroom with some good cover, and I was kind of posted up right between them, and so I'm sitting there watching them, and you know, finally they start kind of funneling, you know, right behind me. And normally they'd come on my left side, and they'd come down this main trail, and it was beat down. And the first couple bucks that came in, there was 6 bucks total, 2 basket racks, 2 shed bucks, little shed bucks. They were young, and then I had a 170-inch deer, literally walk right under me. They all came in on my right side.
See, from the video, it looked like they come in from your left.
No, when I videoed that, it was...
You were selfieing.
Well, I was selfieing, and then I was doing the video, like I could flip the camera around to shoot.
I got you.
Yeah.
So it's
So-
reversed.
Correct. So when I was looking at me, it was a selfie, and then I flipped the camera around to film in front.
Got you.
So I guess that would have looked like left. But long story short, they came in on my right side, one after another, and I mean I couldn't really move. Wind was perfect, kind of blowing this direction. The deer came from back here, and these deer kind of walked right. It was perfect. But the only problem is I couldn't turn to my right. I was ready for them right here. I mean I was ready
On the main trail was
on the main trail.
looked like mud.
Right, but so they came past me, across that creek,
On
and
the
then
right.
on the right, and then just one after another, just kind of filed up this little ridge in front of me. And once that 170 went by, he came, here he comes, right under me. And I probably had him at 17, 18 yards. And
But on the wrong side of the tree.
on the wrong side of the tree. So none of it, I mean, I wasn't worried. I mean, as soon as he got in front of me and wasn't like in the peripheral vision, I was able to, I'm like, all right, I'm going to be able to, just turn and put it in him. And he came in front of me perfect, right where all the mother deer went. And as soon as he put his head behind that tree, I ended up pulling my bow up. And one more step, I'm just like, I'm going to stop him. Brent, shoot. It's probably 18, 22 yards.
Yeah, it would have been a chip shot.
Chip shot. I mean, it was a done deal. He shakes his head, kind of like does like a jump sideways and kind of like looks, and he just kind of turns and walks away. And at that point, I mean, I got a lot of people saying, "Why didn't you just shoot the deer? Why didn't you shoot the deer?" And it's like, it's not a 200-inch deer. The deer doesn't have antlers on its head. I'm not going to shoot it, and I'm getting a lot of crap for that. But
Yeah.
at the same time,
That's what I see in a lot of comments.
well,
too.
right? Why didn't you just shoot the deer? And it's like,
It's an antlerless deer.
it's an antlerless deer.
By the law.
And in the moment, I was just as
Disgust.
surprised as the deer was.
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't even have time to really react. And
You're like in shock. There
right,
they lay.
exactly. So it is what it is. If I could go back, I would have. You don't know. I would have shot the deer when it was right here somehow.
Well,
You
this
know,
is
but-
another thing. And if a deer sheds one side even, and you killed the buck, you don't get a spread credit on your score.
But you can still score the deer.
I can still score the deer. You don't get this inside spread credit because it's nothing fastened to his head.
But how do you prove that antler came off of that deer?
Once both of them hit the ground, they're sheds. They are not.
Okay, but he's got one, and say you find the other. How do you prove that actually?
There is no such thing on paper that as a match set.
Okay.
Each shed is treated as an individual item,
Okay.
not on the same score sheet. Okay, once that buck shed, technically, and you witness, you'd have to lie about it to say I killed the buck, and then he run off and drop it. I mean,
Right,
that's not what we
No,
do.
we're not doing that. But yeah, I mean, for a second I thought, why the heck didn't I shoot the deer?
Right.
But
That's what everybody's asking.
I know.
I'd have shot him anyway.
But at that point he's walking away, and I would have had a bad shot. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? I'm not
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
wound a deer that's. I'm not gonna just. I don't care what it is. I'm not gonna shoot a deer over his back and hope
Right. And how? Yeah.
and wound
True.
him, and that's
Very
just
true.
silly. So
The only saving grace is this: if you shoot a buck and he drops one antler, and you're watching it, okay, and he's still got one on his head, okay, and it's happened. Guys have killed the deer, went to pick it up to take photos, and it pops off in their hand.
I had a buddy do it this year. He shot, one side fell off. He was caping it out, and the other side fell off in his hand.
So therefore, no spread credit, no 200-inch deer, unless, and this is yet to be determined. Is this a 200-inch deer without spread? If you took out the factor of the inside spread, is it still a 200-inch deer? That would have been your saving grace.
Right.
If he'd have dropped one antler,
Right.
but two went flying, game over on your sequence of fourth 200-inch deer. Basically, the buck's standing there with no antlers. It's not a buck anymore. On paper,
Yeah, on paper,
guys,
it's not a
on
buck.
paper, these sheds are laying on the ground. You would have had to lie your ass off to say, I shot it with both antlers, and it run off and dropped them one in death run. That's not.
Yeah,
I mean,
where I'm at with this, I mean, it's going to be, like I did last year. You're bringing the game warden before you get out of your stand. You're doing all. I mean,
Right.
that you have to now. I mean,
You have to now.
in the world that I'm on a hunting end, you have to cross T's, dot the I's, bring the game warden in, make sure he verifies everything before you even get out of your tree stand. I mean,
Yeah.
That's how you have to do it.
You're dumb not to on a deer of this caliber.
But on the bright side, he's still on the hoof and he's healthy as ever. And
In one of those pictures, did you shoot me the pin on where this buck's at?
yeah, why? Who's asking? Yes.
All right. Well, we got to find out what do these things score. Now, I can't honestly give you nothing but an estimated inside spread. But I scored the deer. Miss Lori typed in the information on the computer. And then she went in the other room, sneaky as she is, and printed me out a score sheet. So I have it on paper. So, guesstimations before I lay it on you. And the big question is, and I think you did a contest thing before this, right? On your post?
Yeah.
What's the antler score as a combined no spread?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think this is a 200-inch deer without spread?
Man, he's pushing. I think this is a 100-inch side.
I don't know either.
I think this is a 100-inch side just because it's so much going on. This is pushing. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna. It'll be close, but I don't think so. I held these up to Diesel,
Which was a known 210-inch with spread.
And I think that he's.
And right here it is. He was 190 without spread.
What was his right and left side?
94. This is diesel.
Yeah.
94 and 96.
Yeah. So I think this is definitely
Bigger.
This is a 100-inch side then.
So that one.
For
So
sure.
you compare
Comparing him to Diesel, yeah.
All right. Now, a 2Hundo.
That's comparable to Diesel though. This one was pretty similar.
And you're already in this club. A 200 meets 200 inches with spread.
Right.
A 2Hundo 2 squared meets 200 inches with and without spread. You've already got one of those. Your second one. The 232-inch deer.
And what about last year's?
Let me see. It had 200. Your last year's, or the 232 had 210 inches without spread. Last year's deer was 201 and 3/8.
Yep.
Come to 220 and 3/8 on the BTR score with spread included. So you've got it twice.
Yep.
In the 2Hundo squared club. See that deer shirt right there, the little square on it?
Yeah, I need one.
Yeah.
I don't have one of those.
Okay. And I don't know. Like I said, Lori printed this off. Oh man. Here we go. The right antler. Hold that up, Randall. .105 and 5/8.
Oh my gosh. 105.
105 inches. Pretty straightforward. He's got.
Oh Lord.
Let's see. He's got. The right antler has 10 scoreable points, 5 abnormals. Okay.
Wow.
24 and 1/8 inch main beam on that right. I'm talking about the right. Brow tine 8 and 2/8. The tines on that right antler. Both tines are almost exact. 12 and 4/8 on the 2, and 12 and 2/8 on the 3. And the 4 is 7 and 4/8. Abnormal points combined. Well, I don't want to get into that. Let's go left side to pick that one. This one, mind you, this one's broken.
Yeah, he broke that. I'm assuming it was a pretty identical point. Who knows? Love to see a picture in velvet.
96 and 1/8 right there.
Oh yeah.
He's got 4 abnormals on that side.
So what's that put us at?
201 and 6/8.
Oh, wow.
So had he shed one antler,
Kidding.
still 200-inch deer. Now look at this. What do you guesstimate from all the trail cam pictures we've seen and you've watched?
I said 215-ish.
What was the inside spread?
Probably 18 inches.
If we're safe, the deer's ears when he's alert are 16, 17 inches. how much clearance did he have on either side of his ears to the
Little
inside
bit.
of the main beam?
Little
A little bit of
Yeah.
space?
Yeah.
18 inches.
Right. It wasn't that wide. It was conservative. I say 18 inches.
That makes this dude right here, with an 18-inch inside spread, 219 and 6/8. And he dropped right in front of you, and like stuck his tongue out. See you next year, dude. Good luck with that.
That's a stud, man.
219 and 6/8 with an estimated 18-inch inside spread. As it is, hard bone right here in my hands. 201 and 6/8 inches. Look at that.
And what was the mass on the bases?
Combined mass, 41 inches. So not huge on the mass. The mass measurements were 6 and 2/8, 5 and 7/8. And he carried 4s throughout strongly, and he went up to a 5 on the C3 on the left side. And that's probably because of that broken one off right there. You can see that. He snapped off a huge tine that looked like it might be a match to this, but it's got a way bigger base. So
Yeah, that one does look bigger. I'd be curious if it went like kind of an inner like that, or if it went up. I mean,
yeah.
we'll see what he looks like next year.
Now this looks like looks like a velvet damage kind of. It looks
that's
like
early.
old and chalky and rotten sort of.
Rolled over kind of.
It's not a fight break. It's not a clean break.
That's got to be a velvet, like a September.
Yeah.
Rub it off.
Sometimes the blood just stops flowing for whatever reason. They bump them on a tree branch. It just
Hangs there and falls off.
I can tell an old, like an early season injury when that's just chalky.
Chalky and like
Yeah.
like I don't know what you call that, horse or.
It's almost like rod,
Yeah.
and it does have a smell to it.
Yeah.
So what do you think, dude?
That's unbelievable. Bigger than I thought. I knew he was up there. I knew he was over 2. Just us talking,
Yeah.
with spread.
He's comparable to your last year's buck. Your last
Almost
year's buck.
identical.
Your last year's buck. Let's just
He's
dive
within
into
an
that
inch.
real quick.
Within
Yeah.
an inch.
No. That's a 220. Your last year's buck, and we all seen it on tailgate, had splits everywhere. 220 and 3/8. This one estimated 219 and 6/8. With it, yeah, within an inch. But
6/8.
without spread, 201 and 3/8, 201 and 6/8.
So this one's bigger.
Yeah.
Bone. Wow.
Bigger than last
year.
Yeah. Wow.
It's a stud.
Okay, so almost had 4 in a row. Split second. I mean, like that. Once you release that arrow, bolt, whatever you want to call it, and he still had both antlers on his head.
He was 200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he had dropped 1, still a 200-inch deer. If he had dropped 2 on the death run, still a 200-inch deer. Without spread, he's still a 200-inch deer.
Wow.
And it was that close, dude.
I mean, I just can't. You can't. That'll never happen again.
So you're eating tag soup.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna mount that thing on my wall. That thing's getting framed. I don't even want to think about it, but it is what it is, man. I mean, 4:30, I was like, well, I'm done. I mean, I was pulling my stuff down.
Pull your stuff down, go home. Long drive.
It was a real long
We're
drive.
talking 12 counties away from home. Correct?
Something like that.
I'm not going to give away location. We don't do that here. This page does not even tell what county.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, 12, 13 counties away.
Yeah.
That's how much dedication, and I commend you for that, because you're like all about getting this done. A lot of people would not. Almost be easy, you see the comments. It's not easy.
It's not easy. It's not enjoyable.
It's not enjoyable.
And I'm going to be honest, I'm almost to the point as I don't know how this sounds, but after the pressure that I've had over even last season's pressure to do it 3 times, because you told me no one's ever done it 3 times. So the pressure to do it last year, it was like a job.
Yeah.
10 days straight, hotel room, the whole 9.
9 days in the tree stand.
Yeah, and then the way this season is going this year, you know, started out pretty rough. And at that point, I was done. I was the way the season kind of started out. I don't think I truly didn't think about deer from October 18th to about Christmas.
Yeah.
I was over it.
Over.
And then
Disgusted.
But I got a bug up my butt, and I knew I had to do something. And I was hoping I could get something going with muzzleloader season. And I ended up putting in the time and finally got the permission and was able to hunt this deer the last 3 days of season. And on the particular property I needed, and it is what it is. But my point being,
Pressure's off.
the pressure's off, and I'm
You're relieved.
it's going to be kind of nice to not have to worry about that pressure anymore, and to be able to just go out. You bet your butt I'm going to try to kill a 200-inch deer, but at this point it doesn't matter. If I want to shoot a 170, I'm going to shoot a 170. You know, I've got a couple other nice deer that I can. You know, I'm looking for a 200 next year, no doubt about it. I know where one's at. I know where two are at. But the pressure's off.
The pressure's off, and that's got to be a relief, because that's like a challenge that you can't get out of.
I mean, we had another 200-inch deer that we were after, and he dropped what, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
You know about that one?
Late season. Take
And
a chance.
He dropped one side at least 2 weeks ago now, you know, and I kind of pushed that one to the side, and we really honed in on this one. But I've got some options, but I'm looking forward to being able to just not push it as hard, enjoy it a little more, spend a little more time fishing maybe this summer.
Yeah.
I haven't used my boat in 2 years probably.
Well, I'm glad you kept me in the loop on this, because this has been kind of an adventure for me too. I mean,
I appreciate everything you do. If there's one guy that I can trust, it's you. I can talk to you about anything, and I know our secrets are our secrets, and you aren't going to tell anybody about what I bring to you. And
how many deer do you think I'd score if I didn't still with me?
right, not many. You are the straightest shooter there is, and I commend you for that, and I appreciate it very much.
Appreciate the
because
comment.
it's hard to be able to bring stuff like this to somebody and talk to them about it
Yeah.
without that information getting leaked out, and I know I can trust you and appreciate that, dude.
It's been fun. And totally, I was
It's
just.
been a lot of fun.
I can't say, honestly, I was as disappointed as you, because you called me sick. I mean, ready to throw.
Yeah, that was a hard phone call.
Because once these things hit the ground, it's like, it's over. Pack up.
Was it?
Why didn't you shoot the 170?
If that deer would have walked in after him, he would have been
Vengeance killing?
He would have been on the ground,
Been on the ground,
and I would have had a big set of sheds.
big set of sheds, and the 170, and you're
Yeah.
smiling again.
Walking my way out of there.
Hey, man.
So, thanks, man. Appreciate you very much. So, till next year.
Guys, Toby Hughes with Buckmasters, Randy Kukral with almost the 4th 200. Game over.
Thanks, man.